Welcome to Center Cup. I am Kyle Muserino, joined as always by Nick Newmeyer, and a very warm welcome back to Will Neary.
We're back.
Out last week, but back with a vengeance. We've got a recap Monday today. A lot of stuff to go over, a lot of action over the weekend. Nick was over here and close to Chicago for a Korn Ferry Tour event. We're going to get some inside details from there. We've got a 3M Open recap, the Women's Scottish Open, PGA Tour Americas. It's Jordan Spieth's birthday. I mean, there's just so many things.
Said that one first, guys.
Oh, yeah, I buried the lead. There's just so much to get to.
It's a national holiday in here.
It is on this podcast. It is July 27th every year from here on out is a national holiday. But we will start with the 3M Open. Of course, Jackson Koivun. Bogey-free weekend, ended up kind of running away from everybody. Scottie was tracking him down, but he was having none of it. And it was just the future is here kind of moment, it seemed, for the tour and Jackson Koivun's first win. Will, we'll go to you first. What'd you take away?
You said it. I mean, the future is here to a certain extent. And I mean, it's been here, right? Like Jackson Koivun's been such a topic of discussion for so long. This is his third professional start, grabs the win. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, he looked like, apart from the drive on 18, which, by the way, taking a divot 3 inches behind the golf ball with driver, still finding the fairway and hitting it 260 odd yards is a little annoying. That's something only a professional can do, but no, I mean, it made it clear that he's. I mean, we knew he was legit, but this was, the stamp or the whatever you want to call it, whatever metaphor you want to use. It was really impressive. Obviously, Scottie right behind him. Scottie shoots 64, 63 on the weekend, and he just stays calm and separates. I think, with Scottie shooting that 63, getting to 22 under par, he ends up shooting Koivun ends up shooting 5 under on Sunday, did more than he needed to, wins by 3 shots over Scottie, 5 shots over anybody else. Yeah, I mean, pretty dominant stuff. Like, obviously, this tournament was what I think Scottie was the only player inside the top 30, but that doesn't make it not impressive. It was a dominant performance, like start to finish, just 64, 68, 61, 66. Koivun looked great. Seems like a rock star. I mean, the second you think he might make a bogey, he's draining putts. The putt on 18 after like all those nervy shots, it just seems like the second he gets a putter in his hand, he just feels really confident. Something he's talked about a ton, that his putter is like his baby. He loves it. He feels so confident with it. I mean, to go bad drive, good layup, really bad wedge shot over the green, really bad chip, and then just, whatever, drain the 15-footer for par, make it a bogey-free weekend. Yeah, easy stuff for, 21 years old? Easy stuff for a 21-year-old.
Yeah, definitely can't complain about that. You just have to admire it. I know, like, that was some of the big hype of when we were going to see him win at this level. I know he was an early betting favorite for a lot of the early tournaments he was playing. I mean, I guess, is he even his early tournaments when it's still his third or fourth start? But
well, he was like, was he the second favorite in his first start or something like that?
Right. Or I think he was the favorite at the ISCO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't think anybody expected him to win this early. I don't think. I mean, I know people thought he could with his potential, but I think just seeing him convert at that level was really satisfying. It really shows that, maybe he just needed a few tournaments to just kind of get used to being on tour and get into that mindset. But I think probably the biggest takeaway, he's already in Detroit practicing. Like, he didn't take a day, like anything like that. He just got right back to work, and it's like, okay, like he's here. He's going to, and people will say like that this, it's the 3M Open, like that's not a big deal. Like, I think any tournament that Scottie Scheffler is in the field turns into, and if you beat Scottie, that turns into a big deal of an event. I don't think anybody should be questioning the legitimacy of his win here.
No, I mean, like you said, it's a good win regardless. But yeah, especially when you've got Scottie Scheffler on your heels, and he was saying he was here. He said in his interview afterwards with Amanda Balionis that he was hearing, for after holes, he was hearing people say, well, Scottie's coming, because obviously Scottie got off to a hot start and finishes with that 63. But to be able to hear that the world number one is on your tail and stay calm and not make a single bogey all day is a level of maturity that I definitely didn't have when I was 20 years old. So.
Yeah, absolutely not. I think just to be able to, to have that poise. And then I think the funniest video that I saw was him quote unquote celebrating his win by just fishing in the pond on 18. Did you guys see that video?
Yeah, I did see that. Just casting it. I mean, when's his birthday? How recently 21 is he? And how hard can he even celebrate at this point? But anyway, I'm sorry. Now I'm looking at his birthday.
I mean, he went to Auburn.
I
think he knows how to celebrate pretty well.
Yeah, I guess that's true. He went to Auburn. He's fine.
I mean, it's just his the most impressive thing about him. Obviously, he hits some spectacular golf shots, and a lot of them were making the rounds on Twitter. His mentality is unbelievable. He's just seems like he's got it figured out. To have Scottie kind of close within 3 shots of you on a Sunday, I couldn't imagine what that type of pressure it is. I don't care if it's the 3M Open or the Masters. That's a tough scenario. And he was just unbelievably calm and level-headed. That was the thing that I saw starting with his first round on Thursday and then watching him all throughout the weekend. What most impressed me was his mentality. And you heard the way he talked about it after the rounds and then concluded with Sunday. He just seems like he's so well prepared for this moment. And obviously he is, and it shows. He hit 21 consecutive greens in regulation between Saturday and Sunday. A couple huge putts to kind of calm the nerves, a couple par saves that, kept him with a good comfy lead that he was able to just cruise to the finish with. And now we're going to get the push for him to join the President's Cup here soon, I'm sure. And
Jim Nance was saying it.
Yeah, it started 3 seconds after he made the winning putt.
It's been every talking point on every show you see, on Twitter, you see the lists of guys how many of these guys should be in over Jackson Koivun and all this stuff. And you just see why he's as prodigious as he is, and it's all real, man. He's going to be something else.
Yeah, it's going to be. I was going to say if we can talk President's Cup, I also just want to flash the President's Cup is early September, so give it a month and a half. Where is Jackson Koivun a month and a half from now? He's got the Rocket Classic and the Wyndham as regular PGA Tour events right now. Then he's currently, assuming he doesn't shoot himself out, he's currently the last player in the FedEx Cup playoffs.
Yeah, he's 70th.
He's 70th right now after 3 starts as a professional.
Which is crazy.
70th, right behind.
Where's Neil Shipley?
Dude, he's 180th. They were talking about it. Somebody was talking about it.
Hey, he's playing well, man.
187. Needs a couple of wins, I think, to find himself in this. But right next to, he's in front of Mac Meissner, Johnny Kiefer, Andrew Putnam, Jason Day. He's right behind Michael Thorbjornsen. He's on the bubble, and I don't imagine that he's going to go to the Rocket Classic and throw up a stinker that's going to take him out of this thing. Let's flash forward 7 weeks. I want to think where do you guys think Jackson? Are we talking about Jackson Koivun who weaseled his way to the Tour Championship? Where does he get? Is he playing the President's Cup? How far are we gonna ride this one, or are we just gonna kind of get this win and then he'll make the playoffs, but not really take it any deeper than the first tournament?
Well, this is a conversation that we've had on this show as well about the President's Cup a while back. And I think that the idea was if you're going to try and revolutionize your approach for Adara Manor, you're going to need fresh faces. You can't just roll out the same people. It's going to be 2027. Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas aren't coming to save you on European soil. So you're gonna need to have some fresh faces. But that was the argument. Chris Gotterup was not picked for the Ryder Cup team. You could argue that he probably should have been at Bethpage. But the argument around him not getting picked was that he doesn't have the international experience. He doesn't have Ryder Cup team or anything like that, to where him being on the team would be more of a detriment. Whereas you have this golden opportunity now for someone like Jackson Koivun to give him a spot on a team that, can absolutely flourish with a young talent. We can certainly get to this towards the end of the episode, but you look at Blades Brown at the Corn Ferry event, a lot of the players in the field were saying that, playing with him and just getting to know him really vitalizes them and gives them energy as well. Just watching someone that young just play as well as he does. And so that is something where the presence of Jackson Koivun could very much give an added spark to that Ryder Cup team. But at the same time, he does not have the experience, and to throw him off the deep end into an away Ryder Cup with no prior international experience would be suicide. So give him that experience on that team atmosphere, like get him with the guys so that he has an international tournament under his belt. And then, of course, he has to play well. He has to, you can't just like put him on there for the vibes. I do think he has to earn that. I'd like to see another top 10 between now and the Tour Championship, maybe a top 5. If he contends once more before the Tour Championship, I'd put him on the team, honestly.
Yeah, I think we also have to remember that the President's Cup is not the President's Cup is, the U.S. has not struggled at the President's Cup as in the same. They're 13-1-1. They've lost the President's Cup once. They haven't, and that was 1998 at Royal Melbourne. They've won just about every year since they tied in 2003, technically. But it should be treated as an opportunity, especially when like you said, he's good. It's not like he. I agree. I think if he plays poorly, then you should have a guy that's actively playing bad. You can't pick that guy. But if he's playing solid, I don't know why you wouldn't put him on there as a chance to get him ready for future things. And also, worth mentioning, he does have 2 Arnold Palmer Cups and a Walker Cup under his belt. He's got international experience. It's against non-professional golfers. It's against other amateur golfers. Which obviously he was at the top of that world. But he's not lacking in that. So it's not like you're dropping a guy onto the President's Cup who you think is probably a liability. Frankly, as long as he's playing the way he's currently playing, he's just as good of an asset as probably the guys that you would find at that, the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th ranks to get onto that team.
Well, yeah, you'd say there's probably 9 guys who are most likely locks, right? You got Scottie, Cam Young, Russell Henley, Sam Burns, Ben Griffin, Colin Morikawa, Goddard, Wyndham Clark, and Xander, right? I would say those are probably 9 guys who are pretty safe.
Did you throw Wyndham in there?
Yeah, Wyndham was in there.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then, so that's kind of 3 spots left to choose between guys like Justin Thomas and JJ Spawn, Akshay, Jacob Bridgman, Harris English, Mav McNeely, Patrick Cantlay, Patrick Reed. So there's some intriguing names, but there's
Patrick Reed's a fun shout. I don't think that would happen, but that's a fun one to throw out there.
I mean, he's been good. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's when I read stuff and it's oh, this guy has been, like Justin Thomas, his record at the President's Cup, 10-3-2. It's just like you mentioned, it's they've dominated the President's Cup. I don't really care what your past record is. I care how you're playing right now, leading up to it. That's why Akshay, a great run to start the year, hasn't played that well in the last couple months.
Yeah,
right.
So
I'd certainly take someone like Wyndham Clark, or I was having this conversation with my brother last night, and obviously Bryson DeChambeau can't play because this is a PGA Tour sanctioned event. Obviously, live players can't play, but even if he could, I probably wouldn't take him. That just goes to show recent form is a really big thing, and I certainly would prefer someone like Wyndham Clark, or even I think Patrick Reed is a fair shout. Honestly,
yeah. I think that would be. Thinking about it, you're right.
I think I would certainly be more inclined, if Koivun continues to play well. I want the people that I think that has essentially been a problem of, the American, we can say Ryder Cup and President's teams interchangeably. It's been a lot of dependence on old achievements, and it's been kind of like a boys club. And so you look at, that was one of the things, we've praised Luke Donald for the way he approaches this team, and with the pillows and the bed frames and all that kind of stuff. And some of that stuff is just kind of like quirky little things that maybe might not make that much of a difference. But I think one of the real difference makers was picking Ludwig for Rome, I think, when he was outside the top 100 in the world. And everybody said, is he ready for Rome? Is he ready to be that player? And Luke Donald took that chance on him, and it absolutely paid off. So to me, I see Koivun in the same exact line of thinking there. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I would be much more willing to forgive you taking a shot that doesn't work than just trotting out the same approach that has proven to not work.
Yeah, to put a final nail in this, the way it works is the automatic qualifiers are the top 6 Americans in FedEx Cup, which would right now be Scottie, Cam Young, Wyndham Clark, Chris Goddard, Colin Morikawa, and Sam Burns, which leaves the first handful looking on the outside: Akshay Bhatia, Jacob Bridgman, Russell Henley, Xander Schauffele, Ryan Gerard, JJ Spawn, and then you get Alex Smalley, Gary Woodland.
You're going to need to create those picks.
Why would you not? Why would you not call in an alternate for one of those guys and say, I'm sorry, we're going to give Jackson Koivun a shot? I mean, so as long as he's not actively playing poorly, it's a little too logical. And frankly, to mention the playoffs again, I would be not surprised. If I was a betting man, my bet would be for him to, make the playoffs and get through that first round into the top 50. I don't know if he's going to make it to the final championship tournament, but I wouldn't be surprised if he finds his way into that top 50. I mean, he's a top 50 player in the world right now. I feel like no question.
Absolutely. I would have a hard time believing he can make it to Eastlake, but I think
it's a lot to jump.
Yeah, if you say he's at 70 right now, I don't think it's out of this world to suggest that he could maybe make it to the second round. But that's there's still a lot of golf that needs to be played. I think that's the one thing that I think you sent this to the group chat last night, that this was mainly a joke of comparing Koivun to Tom Kim, and that Tom Kim had won more at a similar age than Koivun did. And so you have to, and then, everybody thought Tom Kim was going to be the next thing, and then he sort of fell off for about 2.5 years. So it's fun, it's really cool, but, we don't know if this is going to be sustainable. It's hard to anoint someone as the next big thing after 3 starts. Obviously, Koivun has the pedigree and the potential to be that player, but you got to let him get there first.
Yeah. One last thing I will say: this is not a Rocket Classic preview show about Koivun, but just next week we get a lot more of the top. We don't have Scottie Scheffler, but we get a lot more of the top end of golf. We get Cam Young, Russell Henley, Chris Goddard, Wyndham Clark. A lot, I don't know, what is that, 10 of the top 30 or so are in this field at the Rocket Classic, and we still have Jackson Koivun sitting at 7th in odds, right there next to Patrick Cantlay and Wyndham Clark, and in front of guys like Russell Henley and Ben Griffin. Cam Young's leading the way. Xander Schauffele's there. He's right in that group. From Xander Schauffele to Jackson Koivun is not a big jump. It's same as the jump from Cam Young to Xander Schauffele. So in terms of odds. So I do think this will be a great week where, like you said, Nick, let's just keep the pedal down. If you can keep proving it, then we're in great shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is when it gets interesting. This is, everybody knows he was going to win at some point, and now it's kind of how do you keep that level? And that's the tough part, is winning and staying in contention when people know you've arrived. So that'll be fun to watch. So good for Jackson Koivun. Let's move on to a few other guys. We can talk quickly about Scottie, another runner-up, his 5th of the season. He talked about his round afterwards on Sunday, and he kind of talked about how he thought his back 9 on Friday and his front 9 on Saturday kind of lost it for him. He shot a 65 on Thursday, a 70 on Friday, a 64 on Saturday, and then a 63 on Sunday. he played pretty damn well again. Just not quite good enough to finish. Missed some tough putts again, and not quite the same old story. I thought he played well. He played well enough to win. Just one guy played better than him.
Yeah, it took Jackson Koivun playing out of his mind to beat Scottie Scheffler this week. So I don't, of course, the one tournament that I picked Scottie to win results in a Jackson Koivun masterclass.
We can't be complaining about second place finishes though in this.
I can.
Nick certainly can.
Yeah, that's true. Nick
needs all the points.
But yeah, he won it outside of 18 holes, and those 18 holes, like I think he said it well, were Friday evening and Saturday morning. And if you can't be shooting a 38 on Friday evening, and it's impressive that he gave himself the chance he did to win this tournament. Because again, a 38 on Friday evening, followed by an even par Saturday morning, and then a 29 on the back nine. Because of course. But this back nine was super gettable. I mean, we saw Michael Kim shoot a 28 on it. Jake Knapp shot a 28 on that back nine. Scottie shot a 29. Yeah, shout out the Napster. Get him on the President's Cup team. You can't shoot a 38 on it. You can't go 10 shots worse than the best scores of the week. That's just blasphemous from the world number one. But, good weekend. There's not a ton to talk about with Scottie anymore, just because it feels like we've had this conversation so many times. It's like, he was, a couple shots out. He was the best player in the tournament, except for one guy. I mean, what did you say, Kyle? It was his fifth time doing that. Yeah. He's still the best in the world. There's not a doubt in my mind. He's the best golfer in the world. Just we need that extra gear, Scottie. He's still winning the FedEx Cup. He's still going to enter every tournament he plays as a favorite by a long shot. So.
Yeah, I think he's so close. I think I could definitely see him winning the Wyndham, or just either the Wyndham or the BMW. And, there's definitely
winning every tournament he plays for the next 4 years. So,
that is true.
It's I can see this one, But yeah, no, I get he's bound to get one of these across. He just keeps
I really don't think we enter 2027 without Scottie winning again. I did see, you'll like this, Will. You see the gap between him and Rory at world number 2 is the same gap between Rory and Michael Thorbjornsson.
I did not see that. I think that was true. That kind of thing was true at the beginning of the year, and then Rory gained a lot of ground with that with the Masters, obviously. But I guess that gap has grown again with Rory deciding not to play golf anymore.
Right.
It's tough to gain points in OWGR when you can't.
That's why Scottie's still going to be the player of the year.
Yeah, he's got. There's unless maybe if Cam Young knocks off a win this week, gets his third of the year. He's won the Cadillac. He won the Players. Third. Gets his third of the year with a couple of the major performances. You could maybe throw an argument his way, but it's going to be tough. By the way, speaking of rankings. Where do you think Data Golf has Jackson Koivun now? You might get this right. I feel like it's not as crazy. It's not that crazy. It sounds right to me. But remember, he was the first amateur to break into their top 50.
I feel like I saw this. He's up to 30th, right?
He's 30th in the world, according to Data Golf, which is, that feels right though, right?
It kind of does.
The names are right around him.
Let me pull up. So in the Data Golf rankings, let's see. Around 30th, we've got. I'll start 25. We got Mav McNeely at 25, Justin Rose, Kurt Kitayama, Harris English, Shane Lowry, Jackson Koivun, Akshay Bhatia, Minwoo Lee, Lucas Herbert has jumped up a ton. He won on Live. By the way, we'll get to this in Around the World. One of the greatest strokes gained performances ever, according to Data Golf at this Live tournament. Alex Fitzpatrick is 34. Jacob Bridgman is 35. He's better than I think almost everybody I just talked about, except for maybe. I was
gonna say frankly, I'm a little surprised that Justin Rose is. I'm surprised, but also not that Justin Rose is that low. But I would take every single one of those. I would take Koivun over every single one of those players minus Justin Rose.
I think if you're picking for a tournament next week, if all of these guys were in next week playing, you could get me up to it's actually kind of in line with the odds, around where Patrick Cantley is 16th. Once you hit Xander Schauffele at 15th overall, I'm probably like, okay, I'll take Xander over Koivun this particular week, but that's about where we're at. I mean, Cantley's 16, Bobby McIntyre's 17, Tyrrell Hatton's 18. Like, are you really going to put money on any one of those three at a tournament at one individual tournament, not a career or anything like that?
Yeah,
it's tough.
I don't know.
I'm with you.
He's coming, and
Yeah.
I
the
think
longest
that was
winded way to say he's coming possible. It's the last 25 minutes of this episode.
I think not to make this a Blades comparison again, but that was one thing I had been hearing from his family this week was that once he wins one event, he's not going to stop winning, and I feel like that's kind of the same way with Koivun. Is once you break through that first one and you figure out what it takes to win on the PGA Tour, winning is going to just come that much easier.
Well, that's a good transition, because I know we want to move to the Korn Ferry Tour because you had an awesome week out there, but I have a bridge between the PGA and the Korn Ferry, and it's something I was thinking a lot about today. I was writing about it a little bit today. Is there's been so much discussion of like the right answer, right? What path is the right path to get you to professional wins quickest? And I think Blades Brown has been at the forefront of that for not going to college. Akshay Patia as well, Tom Kim are really good examples of that. And then there's the PGA college golf, but that's embodied now in the PGA Tour U. And we've seen a ton of success from PGA Tour U guys very, very quickly. And I think this weekend was the embodiment of that. I mean, Jackson Koivun, third professional start, wins on the PGA Tour. Tommy Morrison, fourth professional start, I believe. Wins on the Korn Ferry Tour, and he's never done worse than T10 on the Korn Ferry Tour. I think he went T10, T5, second win, which is outrageous. But they both were college students 2 months ago. They were finishing up their NCAA championship bids. Tommy Morrison, I believe Texas, right, was a player at Texas. Was sixth in the PGA Tour U or seventh in the PGA, I think sixth in the PGA Tour U, ends up on the Korn Ferry Tour and has been just absolutely cleaning up. So I don't. It's just interesting to see how fast the success has come, and they're not the first ones. I mean, Ludwig Oberg, Michael Thorbjornsen, our PGA Tour U guys. I think the examples that you would point to if you wanted to argue against me are Luke Clanton and Gordon Sargent, who had that PGA Tour U accelerated success in the way that Koivun did to get his tour card, and both.
That's why I'm willing to pump the brakes. Not to interrupt you. That's why I'm willing to pump the brakes on Koivun a little bit, just because we've seen early success fizzle out.
Yeah, but we haven't seen. I don't think either of those two guys won on the PGA Tour, right? I don't think Sargent or Clanton have actually logged a PGA Tour win. I know. Yeah, Sargent hasn't.
I'm thinking Nick Dunlap. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Nick Dunlap. I guess it's similar in concept. It's different, I guess, because I believe he was at Alabama, right? But he was just won as an amateur, and that's how he gained status on the PGA Tour. It wasn't technically through PGA Tour U accelerated or any of that, but same concept. Playing well enough as an amateur to get in. But I think the interesting part of it is that it also, to me at least, highlighted a little bit the fact that Blades Brown hasn't won, and I mean he's younger, in age, he's younger. He's been professional for 2 years now.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, his second year as a professional. And I'm not saying I expect him to win. He's playing really good golf. He's been top 20 in, 9 of his last 10 tournaments between the PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour. So I'm not disparaging him a little bit at all, but I think that Jackson Koivun actually said this at some point after the tournament. There's knowing how to win matters a ton. And obviously winning at an amateur level when you're 17, 18 in high school is one thing, but learning how to win against college competition, which is really, really good right now. I mean, we've seen Preston Stout, Ben James, it's not just Tommy Morrison and Jackson Koivun. A lot of the guys that are good in college are showing up on the PGA Tour and finding success pretty quick, or lower levels, PGA Tour Americas, Korn Ferry Tour, you name it. It's interesting to see, it does feel like an example of okay, maybe learning to win against this really good competition does matter a little bit. And I have no doubt, and you said it, Nick, I have no doubt that Blades Brown is going to win on the Korn Ferry Tour, on the PGA Tour. He's gonna rack up a couple professional wins. Not really worried about it, but just the speed with which these guys are doing it at the professional level kind of threw up a couple red flags in my brain. Like, okay, maybe college is the route. Maybe there's something to that. I mean, it takes a lot more exploring than preliminary thoughts to actually get to the bottom of that. But that was something I thought about. And with that, you guys can respond to that, or we can just bridge straight to the Evans Scholar Invitational where Tommy Morrison did get that win.
I think, everything you said was true, contingent on the fact of that the PGA Tour accelerated program exists. Because I think, obviously these collegiate events have just gotten so good. You look at, we've talked extensively about the women's side too, like Farrah O'Keefe, Kiara Romero. There's some really good names on the women's collegiate side, but there's also some really great players this past season on the men's side. You had players like Jackson Koivun, the Tommy Morrisons, like there are
Stout's another
Preston
one,
Stouts, yeah. Like there are so many, Ben James, yeah, James Nicholas, like there are so many great young players that are all just competing against each other in these events. That makes it really, really good. At the same time, let's say if PGA Tour University Accelerated didn't exist, and you have someone like Blades Brown, like I know he got offers from Vanderbilt. Let's say he starts at Vanderbilt his freshman year, gets really good, but then has to wait 2 years to qualify for accelerated program. Like he's not going to be able to qualify for accelerated until his junior year.
Sophomore.
Or is it
sophomore? Koivun had it after his sophomore last year.
Right. That's right. So you still have that delay to where you need to what's the word? You're almost not able to capitalize on how fast you're rising, and you kind of just have to be stagnant for a little bit. And so that's why I think the inception of the accelerated program, I think, is really good because it allows you to not be trapped there for 4 years if you are absolutely balling out.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, it also could just and Jackson Koivun could just be an alien. It could be this dude's just actually different, and in 5 years we're going to be like, okay, we're witnessing, some of the best 3-5 year or whatever start to a PGA Tour career. But there is something to be said too for the fact that he went back to school, and I think also speaks to the maturity that Kyle was talking about. Like he could have turned pro after his sophomore year at Auburn, but decided, you know what, actually, I'm going to go back. I feel like I still have more to learn. I think his quote actually was, I'm paraphrasing it, was along the lines of, I'm physically ready, but I'm not mentally ready to compete on the PGA Tour. And I think that's another thing, like you're saying, like, yeah, on one hand, it sucks to not be able to capitalize on like the fastest growth you can get. But at the same time, sometimes it doesn't suck to just sit and learn for a while more. But again, this is person to person. And I don't think Blades Brown took the wrong path at all. I think he did what's best for him. And it's very possible that if he went to college, he's not where he's at today. But yeah, and again, I think we are months, not years away, maybe even weeks away from his first professional win. It's not going to be that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that's a great segue to Evans Scholars.
Yeah, I mean,
I just can't believe you guys are Will mentioned it in passing. Michael Kim's 59. I mean, the Napster shot a 62 on Sunday. Neil Shipley's T44.
Yeah, you know what? Let's
glossing over so many things.
We can go back and I agree. I think we kind of just talked about Koivun, Scheffler. We can go back and look at some other.
That was joking a little bit, but Michael Kim's 59, pretty damn impressive. It was good to see that one we can play well. Hideki with a third place finish was also good to see. He's played pretty well these last few weeks. He could be a good pick coming up here in the next couple weeks.
I've done that one too many times. I can't get burnt again.
With Hideki?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Michael Kim thing was funny. I mean, it was just the most. I mean, even you can just 69, 59, 70, 50, 69. It's just like, sure. Yeah, man. Just use them all one round. Whatever. Go out in 29. And the putt he made on 18 was
absurd.
On a par 5. What was it? I don't remember what it was. 18 feet, almost, or 25 feet or something like that. Yeah. Rolled in the long birdie putt on 18 to a huge fist bump. I mean, you gotta when you shoot 59.
I mean, 59 is incredible.
That's so preposterously low. It's just ridiculous. 12 under on an 18-hole golf course is stupid stuff. It is. It's not real. And I think that ties the because Jim Furyk was 58, but he was 58 on a par 70. So that's got to tie the low to par in PGA Tour history. I mean, I don't, unless actually maybe somebody shot a 59 on a par 72. That I don't know. I bet you AI could help me out with that in a second once I mute my microphone. But so that my keyboard is black too loud.
Yeah, I think there has been another 59 on a 72, but you're right about Furyk's 58 because they showed the graphic after. And yeah, that putt on 18 to seal it, because we've seen a couple. I feel like this season where there's been guys with a putt to make for 59 and they haven't hit it, and it was super fun to see that.
By the way, this is a total sidebar. There are a few things in the golfing world that bother me as much as like the like quantity, like just the score, like just talking about the score. I had the same thought when we were doing the like, oh my God, these like 362s that happened at the Open Championship. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter because it's 8 under par. That's totally different than 9 under par. Like it's just why are we just saying 62 in a vacuum as if
You're
there
right,
wasn't a couple 62s that were 9 under, or there wasn't a couple 63s that were 9 under. Why are we just saying, oh, 62 is the number that we're going to, like, it should never be a graphic that says like, this is the 5th 62 in major championship history. It should be, this is the 3rd 9 under par round. Because there's been like 50 something, like 40 something 8 under par rounds at major championships. It's totally different. It's not at all the same thing. And I think that can also be said in a little bit of different, because there is that threshold of breaking 60 that matters a little bit more. But yeah, to be like, just say Jim Furyk's got the scoring record with 58 is like, well, actually, he was only 12 under par, and other guys have done that.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I think, at the end of the day, anytime you can get into it's going to require at least double digits under par to get into the 50s. And so I think either way, it's incredibly impressive. So
yeah, we should be tracking every time somebody might shoot a 59. That should be something that we're like, oh, shoot, like everybody look at this, everybody focus on this, because that threshold of 60 is super important. I just think when we're talking record book, right, like that's when it comes into play for me, is when we're talking about record book, like what's the best score of all time? I think that needs to be on an on-par, like to par basis, and not a total score.
Yeah, I do agree there.
We have par 70s, par 71s, and par 72s.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have other ones. Anyways, that's my diatribe.
It's also amazing he shot a 59 and then barely ended up inside the top 10.
No, it's hard to do, man.
I mean, come on.
Who's another name I didn't necessarily expect to see this high up was Brian Harman. I didn't.
Yeah.
That was a good result. I saw the video of him and Scottie in the scoring times with him flicking off the camera. I thought that was hilarious.
That was great.
Yeah. I mean, at a birdie fest, you never think Brian Harman's going to be the name.
Right.
Like when the winner's at 20, when they end up 25 under, it's rare that you're like, yeah, Brian Harman's going to make 20 birdies. Like, is he going to make a lot of birdies or bogeys anywhere? Like, probably not, because he keeps the ball in front of him. But is he going to make 20 birdies? Like, man, I did not see that one coming. He was one actually, like, randomly from, because I picked him for the Open on my team or whatever, and I had starred all those players in the PGA Tour app. So I kept getting notifications about Brian Harman on my phone. I would just be like, Brian Harman shot a 64 on Friday. I was like, whoa, what the hell is he doing? So I couldn't turn him off because he was playing well. I didn't want to jinx my poor guy, but it worked out all right. T3 for him. One of his better results of the year for sure.
It's interesting. You had mentioned that you mentioned some of the players that have been playing really well and some of the players that might not have been. Gordon Sargent, Luke Clanton, and Preston Stout all missed the cut at 2 under this week.
Yeah, well, the Gordon Sargent and Luke Clanton, man, it's like we're monitoring the situation, because this actually, like, in exactly the opposite sense of saying that this isn't where I'd expect Brian Harman to succeed, this is exactly where I would think that Luke Clanton and Gordon Sargent should find a ton of birdies and find their way to a reasonable finish, like to making the cut. But Gordon Sargent opened with a 73. Luke Clanton, I'm not even sure what he did, but I don't think it was much better. Opened with a 72. those are guys that hit the ball really far and should make a ton of birdies. That's how they got here. That's how Luke Clanton got through PGA Tour Accelerator, was making a ton of birdies on courses like this. And it's a bummer to see that both of those guys, who are great golfers, and I'm sure will have long and successful careers, have just not really been able to find it for a little while now.
Yeah. So
the sun is back out. It's blinding me from the right side. By the way, if you're watching, I look like the right side of me is angelic and the left is just in shadow because the sun just came back out.
That's the cinematography right there. That's,
That's what we bring to the table here at Center Cup. A lot of cinematography. That's kind of the name of the game.
Center Cup produce. We don't have it in the little ticker. Maybe we can add it at the bottom. But our director is Christopher Nolan. So.
Oh yeah, of course. All right. Are there any other names that we want to give a shout here at the 3M before we can give Tommy Morrison, Blades Brown, Nick's time on the ground out at the Glen Club a little attention? Thank you. Do my best.
No, I think that's perfect. I say it's Corn Ferry time. Take us inside the ropes, Nick.
For the very first time in this PGA Tour Corn Ferry Tour season, we have a dedicated Corn Ferry Tour recap on this week. So for those who don't know, I was at the Evans Scholars Invitational at the Glen Club. Really great event. It's really well done. It's put on very well. The communication staff, I can't say enough. The Western Golf Association was absolutely phenomenal and just making sure everything was set up perfectly. And the golf was absolutely incredible. Like Tommy Morrison, he's 6'9", like
big fella.
Big fella. Like the camera crew. Like,
if you go look at Nick's Twitter, you'll get all the videos of Tommy Morrison's the bottom of his chin. And Nick's not a short fella, but it's like that's how Tommy Morrison's tall is when you're scrolling through all the media and you're so, man, everybody's looking up at this guy. Okay.
Yeah. You see him hug his caddy at the end of the round, which we'll get to his caddy in a second, but like you see him just like fist pumping by himself, and then he pulls his caddy and he's like a solid like 2 feet taller than his caddy. And it's like big dude. But yeah, he hits the ball a mile, and he really caught fire. Like he hit 6 birdies in his final 7 holes on Saturday, excuse me. And look at his third round and just see like he absolutely caught fire. And the Glen Club is a course that you can get a lot of birdies. Like all of the par 5s are pretty much reachable in 2, and like there's a couple short par 4s in there. Blades Brown hit his drive 400 yards and drove the green on the second hole on Sunday, and like almost like he looked like Scottie when he hit it and then like literally like walked forward as he was swinging. It was probably one of the best shots I've ever seen in real life. But
see if we can pull 385 yards to the front of the green, cut the corner.
Yeah,
why not?
Incredible. But yeah, I'll give Tommy his due diligence. He was absolutely just. I had asked him on Saturday night, like knowing that a lot of these players had come out with hot starts, like what's the mindset, knowing that you have to absolutely put together a big number. And he said that's kind of just been the MO of the Corn Ferry Tour, is that you're gonna be going low in a lot of these events, and you need to just have your foot on the gas all the time. So it's just showing up and being ready to do that. And he absolutely did that. 5 straight birdies to open the round. I was in the group ahead with following Blades Brown and just, seeing, okay, like if Tommy starts to struggle, then maybe someone can make a run. And and then by like the 3rd hole, we kind of knew this is Tommy's day.
Yeah. I mean, he came into the round, just for context. He came into the final round with a 1-shot lead over Dylan Menant, and then 5 shots over Blades Brown, Noah Goodwin, Stuart McDonald. So Blades was in it, and it probably would have taken a bogey or 2 or a slow start. But Tommy Morrison was not particularly interested in starting slow, I don't think. Yeah,
which I'll give my shout outs to Dylan Menante as well. That dude is the fastest player I have ever seen in person.
Faster than Ryan Fox? You got back
probably, actually, because that's the interest. The Corn Ferry Tour tracks pace of play. Mm-hmm. Like that's something that I had known, but like I didn't really realize. by the time I got out to the course and was following Dylan's round, it was the par 3 ninth hole. He was finishing on 9 because he started on the back 9 on Thursday. And the caddies weren't even off the green with his bag. And he was already like standing in front of the ball. Like he just plays so incredibly fast. And I think just watching Blades' group like walk off with their approach shots, and like as soon as they were walking, you would wait 2 seconds and a ball would just roll like right there. Just like Dylan is absolutely the fastest player in the world, I would say. And like that was honestly, I think Blades teed off at like 12:25. That was his tee time. And then he finished on 18 at like 4:30 yesterday. So like pace of play was actually pretty good this week. But yeah, the world needs more Dylan Menantes, man. Like I have a lot of respect for him. And then he gave it his all. Like I think because Tommy finished at 29 under, and the scoring record of this tournament was set last year by Johnny Kiefer at 26. So Dylan also tied the scoring record at this tournament. So like he did everything he could. He had an incredible eagle on the 18th hole, put it to like 6 feet, I think. Or it was longer. Was that 17 feet? That says
17 feet 11 inches the hole. Yes.
Yeah, had an awesome eagle putt to give himself, obviously it was too little too late at that point, but, he absolutely fought. Very, very good person to follow all week, very fast. Talked to the media all 4 days, and, just listening to him approach the game. It was kind of just like one of those players, similar to Ryan Fox, where he said, like, I get in my own head a lot, so as soon as I step up, I sort of just have to hit it. So I was really impressed with what he did.
Also, just I hadn't looked at this visually. This is maybe the straightest 2 shot. I know this doesn't show the draws or the fades or whatever, but just in terms of taking a direct path from tee box to pin, I don't think I've ever seen. If you're watching, you know what I'm talking about. I don't think I've ever seen 2 shots be this perfectly lined up to just go at the pin again, make the eagle putt. It's an easy game, guys. When you drive a 366 and then hit probably a 5-iron 236 over water to 17 feet and train the putt, it's really not that hard to go out there and shoot 65 and finish second.
And I will say, like, the Glen Club does have a lot of like speed slots to where like you can hit like a 380 yard drive and especially like this is probably the first rain we've gotten since like 4th of July weekend. Like we have not gotten any rain, so like the Glen Club was really firm this week. So like those drives were really like, as the week got on, like those drives on 18 were like a lot of them were passing the cart path in that like middle of the fairway. Like there were a lot of drives where Dylan's ball was.
It's crazy, man. Pretty wild stuff.
And so like just looking at, obviously Tommy Morrison, it's his first win in his 4th start on the tour, and he's finished progressively higher. You said it was 10th, 5th, 2nd, and then now 1st. Not much higher you can go from there, but just on an absolute
he's got to win by more. Got to win by
exactly
7 next time.
Yeah, and I think he's absolutely capable of doing it too. Like he showed absolutely no emotion until like the final hole. Like he picked up his ball, like threw his hat down and like pulled his caddy into a massive hug, which interesting thing about his caddy. So like the Evans Scholars Invitational has a lot of really good winners over the years. Obviously Johnny Kiefer won it last year. Cam Young won it in 2021. Scottie Scheffler won it in 2019. And Scottie won it in 2019 with Tommy Morrison's caddy, Scott McGinnis, on the bag. So they both had the same caddy for that event. So really, really interesting just to see them go about it. Tommy was a very regimented guy, very, very disciplined. You couldn't really tell a lot of what was going through his head. It was just a lot of just golf and just being locked into the round. He told us a funny story at the end where he said Sunday morning he had plans at like 8:00. Him and his girlfriend were going to go get breakfast at like a pancake house right by the course. and like he was up at like 2:30, 4:30, 6. Like he could not sleep last night. So like I think he finally fell back asleep around like 8:30 and then just like slept like as long as he possibly could. And so, and then, just to come out and he absolutely did what he needed to do, like 5 straight birdies. Like obviously Dylan made that run at the end, but he shut the door like immediately. Like we knew like by the 3rd hole that this was his tournament to lose.
Yeah. And just to drive home how impressive this run has been. Hopefully this worked when I switched tabs. Nice. He's already 8th. Again, he's played 4 Korn Ferry Tour events. He is 8th in the season-long points list for the Korn Ferry Tour. Top 20 at PGA Tour cards. He's all but locked up PGA Tour status with 4 starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. He could go home and not play anymore if he wanted to, and he'd be a PGA Tour professional in 2027. It's pretty ridiculous stuff for somebody who has had so few starts. He's in front of Blades Brown. I know Blades Brown has made a lot of PGA Tour starts, but he's higher than Blades Brown on the season-long Korn Ferry Tour points list.
It just goes to show you like how important it is to win on this tour. Like if you win, that already gives you like just so many points. And so those standings, like I know we probably haven't covered it as much, but like it's an absolute dogfight down there, and there's so many players that can just make a run at any given moment. So very interesting stuff.
And the same is true on some of the guys to go back to PGA Tour U, for some of the guys that have been down on the PGA Tour Americas, like Lance Simpson missed out on the Korn Ferry Tour by 1 spot in his 4 starts. He's got a T8, a 2nd, and a T10. I think he's already just about in position to get his Korn Ferry Tour card for 2027. So he'll get just basically miss out on 3 months instead of a much longer period. These guys are coming out ready to play, and it's crazy what like a hot streak of 4 weeks, of 3 weeks can do for your career if you just time it right. For sure.
Yeah, no, that was like, I'd say probably some of the biggest like storylines was Tommy, but I think just Blades Brown he was someone that I had the opportunity to follow just throughout the week. And I know like Will, you had mentioned like, yeah, he hasn't really won out there. And I think like to a certain extent, like I sort of agreed with that. And going into this tournament, I was kind of thinking along the lines of like, okay, well, if he didn't shoot that 60 at the Amex, like we probably wouldn't be like hearing about him as much as we did. Like obviously it's really cool that he's doing all of this at 19 years old, but like maybe he was rushed into the starlight a little bit because of that 60, because like he's contended obviously on the Korn Ferry Tour, but he hasn't really won or like put together that weekend. His moment hasn't come yet. But then just seeing him in person, honestly, is really changed my mind. Just seeing the way he approaches the game of golf, like just looking at him, you wouldn't even know he's 19. Like, I mean, with his face, like he's going to get carded well into his 30s at bars. Like he's got an absolute baby face, but just seeing the way he approaches the game of golf, like he looks like a 35-year-old veteran on the PGA Tour. Like you watch him, you have no idea whether he just made a birdie or a bogey. Like he is absolutely locked into the rounds. He doesn't linger on anything. And even like he's interacting with the fans, like he's constantly giving out fist bumps. He's like tossing a ball to like a young kid. I think on Friday's rounds, he took like a massive divot and then like picked it up and like started like pretending like he was talking on the telephone. Like he's just a laid back guy and like a very fun watch.
I mean, that just sounds like someone who's confident in their abilities, and just like we talked about with Jackson, the mentality on some of these younger guys, they're just so well prepared for these moments and what this competition brings out, and a lot of the times it brings out the best in them, and it sounds like that's exactly the case with Blades. So maybe the wins haven't quite came yet, but I'm sure there's no short of confidence there, and it's not like he's being discouraged by any of that, which is good to hear.
No, absolutely not. And like his round on Saturday, like the shooting the matching 61 with Koivun as well, like that was cool. Which I mean, we'll have to look at how many under par he was to see like if it matches with, we don't want to get Will mad.
They're both par 71s. That's all okay. It was both 10 under par. Works out perfectly.
Yeah, but like just like Tommy Morrison got off to his hot start on Sunday, Blades rattled off 5 birdies in a row on his Saturday round, and like just absolutely the par 3, so the fourth hole especially is the one that I would give the most props to. That he put it like I think that's wrong, by the way. Like that was not 10 feet. He put it to inches. Like
Oh, really?
he was so close to an ace.
Oh, that's
And
when you
like,
said it. That's when you texted us that he almost made an ace.
yeah, like he just was so like just the way he was putting across the entire, and then obviously like he did run into a bogey or two, like on 6, like he caught a flyer lie on the left side and just like airmailed the green, and then wasn't able to, and then was in like some heavy fescue, couldn't get back up and down.
You can't even see, they won't even let you
Yeah.
see it.
That was a tough one. Like it was downwind and he caught a flyer lie, so difficult one there. And then on 11, he just hit it on the complete opposite side of the green, and then just had a very difficult two. It technically will go down as a 2 putt because he was putting from the fringe. But and then you just look at that 13 through 18, 6 consecutive birdies to end the round. That ties the Korn Ferry Tour record of birdies to close a round. And like he was just, it seriously looked like and he wasn't like, honestly, he wasn't throwing darts either. He was putting them to like 15, 20 feet and was just automatic. Like it was almost like when, like what Spieth used to say of like when he was dialed on the greens and then the cup just looked like it was like 3 feet wide. That was kind of the way he was approaching it. I think, are you able to see like his strokes gained from
Yeah, I should be able to. Stats.
Look at putting from round 3.
Round 3 strokes gained putting, first 5 shots putting. Yeah.
Like
Pretty
insane.
Pretty good.
And so like what really impressed me is and we have the soundbite queued up as well of just how much he really relished in the fact. So like I interviewed a 12-year-old fan on the course, and just I talked to him about what it means to see Blades playing at such a young age, and he said that Blades is already a role model to him, and that it just shows what you can do at such a young age. And so I told Blades about it after the round and just said like, how does it feel? I asked him like how it feels and what does it mean to him to be considered a role model at that young of an age, and this is what he had to say.
I'm so blessed to be. I'm thankful and grateful to be in the position I am right now. I get to play golf for a living, and I get to play in front of people. That's something that I love to do. And I know that I was once that little kid that was saying the same thing. So it's very cool to be in the position that I am right now, and I'm thankful and grateful. Yeah.
Like you look at that, and he's really the kind of person that, just watching him, you can just tell that the world's problems disappear when he has a golf bag on his shoulder. Like he was very conscious, even like after making a bogey, like when he would hand out like his fist, I think he would give the most fist bumps out after he made bogeys. Like people would go up and like try to like just give him a high five or something, and he wouldn't leave anybody hanging. Like just that perspective was real. And I think the part that really, as someone that prides themselves on having a great relationship with his mother, what I really respected was after every single, so like Blades' family came, his mom was there the first 3 days, his dad was there for Saturday and Sunday, and after every round, Blades would walk off the 18th green, sign for every single kid that was standing at the 18th green. I think he would spend like 3-4 minutes there just signing, and then immediately would go give his mom a hug and a kiss and just say hi, which I have to say I really respect that. I think that just shows how grounded he is, and just the support from his family over the years. Like he told me, I talked to him one-on-one on Thursday, and he had told me that his parents support him, and they come out for every single tournament. He said they come out for 2 reasons. 1, because they want to, but 2, he legally can't check into hotels and rent cars. So he has to be taken to work by his parents every day, which was really fun. Like you don't realize just how young he is, and like he can't rent a car. And like I was joking with the media directors, and they had they had a bottle of champagne ready for the winner and the winner's family. I'm like, you got a bottle of like Welch's grape juice in case Blades wins today, or like what's the contingency there? Like, but his dad had mentioned, like he mentioned before, that his dad is probably one of his biggest inspirations. His dad has fought through leukemia and kidney stones. And 2 years ago, when Blades was going pro, that was when his dad had gotten the leukemia diagnosis, and it was a very aggressive form, and he was given only 6 months to live at that point. And that was a really big factor in Blades going pro, was that I think he said he wanted his dad to see him walk up the 18th green at Augusta. So he said, I'm going to go pro right now, like just to maximize the time that we have left, and just to make sure that you are able to see that. And so obviously he did chemo. He's doing a lot better right now. And, he was able to, he still comes to every tournament that he can. He was incredibly gracious. And, I walked with him for like pretty much the whole 18 on Sunday. We were just talking the entire time. He was incredibly willing to talk. He told me so many stories about Blades from his childhood, I think he told me when he first sort of broke through, when people first started hearing about him, was when he placed, I think, 17th at the Tennessee State Amateur in 7th grade. Like the summer of his, and like all the 30-year-old amateur players are like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we can't even beat a fucking 7th grader. And he would say to them, like, guys, it's okay. I'm starting 8th grade in 2 weeks. Like, just the incredible poise and maturity that he had at such young of an age was, you could really see where he gets a lot of it. Like, Blades' dad was just so down to earth, so happy. So he had told me, I had asked him like just what it means for him to be able to come out and walk these tournaments with him. And he said, it's the hallmark of every father's journey to see your son find something that he likes and is good at and makes him happy and finds fulfillment there. And so it's an incredibly inspiring story. I think just seeing him in person, like obviously you can look at the results and like, it's a handful of top 10s. Like, yeah, you can factor in his age, but like, it's not that impressive. But then you just look at what he's been able to do at the age he's been able to do it, and just seeing the way he handles himself on the course, it's really inspiring. And I think like he has the special temporary membership for this year on the PGA Tour, and he could theoretically be playing on the PGA Tour right now. He was listed in the field as an alternate and like given the people that have already withdrew, he would have already been in the field this week for the Rocket. But instead he'll be playing in Utah this week at the Utah Championship. It's playing at a course that he's won at in his junior career. And so they're trying to, so in order to secure a card for next year, he would need to finish in the top 70 on the PGA Tour rankings in the FedEx Cup. Whereas on the Korn Ferry, he'd have to be top 20 in their rankings. And as it stands, they're prioritizing Korn Ferry just because like that's the more likely outcome of the two. Like, he absolutely has the potential to like play into the top 70 if he was playing like more of a full-time PGA schedule, but they are trying to focus more on Korn Ferry. They think, like kind of what I mentioned earlier in the show, that if he were to win, like especially at a course like in Utah, like if he was able to convert this week, like once the floodgates open, it's going to be hard to close them. And I think, there were I'll admit there were times where he did look 19. Like I think green speed on Sunday he was kind of struggling with that all day. There were a lot of there were putts that he was leaving short. There were putts that he was leaving long. Like, you would have thought like towards the end of the round that he probably would have adjusted better than he did. But I think it was just flat out just not his day on the putting green. Like, it was just one of those days where they weren't falling. And, he never gave up. Like, he was still giving him a good ride. He was still making sure, like, he was still, let me try to think how to say this. Like, the mistakes were still creeping in though. Like, they were still like, even in his rounds where He had 12 birdies on Saturday on his round, which is just astronomical. But those also came with two bogeys that, quite frankly, I thought both of them were pretty avoidable. So, like, the mistakes do still show, and they will. He's 19 years old, but I think based on what I saw, I think he has not only the talent, but he absolutely has the support system as well, to where I don't think I can see him winning a major championship in his career. I can confidently say that.
Yeah, it's worth saying too. He is going to be playing on the PGA Tour next year. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
He's currently 12th in the Korn Ferry Tour rankings. I can understand them wanting to nail that down, get him. At this point, there's no reason to play a PGA Tour event over a Korn Ferry Tour event other than like clout, I guess. He's not going to make the FedEx Cup playoffs with at this point. So might as well. He is 12th. It would be very, 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 very maybe impossible, but infinitesimally unlikely for him to drop out of the top 20. So we will be seeing a full schedule out of Blades Brown next year, regardless of what happens, most likely over the next couple of weeks, which will be great. But I will be curious to see if he can, like you said, he's won on this course before. So if there was ever a spot to notch that first professional win, we could find it this week.
Yeah, and I think he's very much he very much appreciates just the significance of where he is. Obviously we saw in that soundbite, that was just a lot of, I think he had told me that the way he looks at it, golf is a game where you can hit a really good shot and get a bad result, and you can hit a really bad shot and get a good result. So you have to take things one shot at a time, and realistically you make more. I think the quote was, you make more birdies with a positive attitude than you do with a negative attitude. And so like I said,
stuff right there.
Yeah, that's, he's clearly, he's saying,
is he, some kind of philosophizer?
He's saying all the right stuff, and like I said, he kind of he has the temperament where he just seems happy to be out there. He'll never complain out on the golf course. He never, even when some things weren't going his way, putts weren't falling or a bad chip or something like that, I never saw him angry the entire week. And even after he spent probably the most time out of everybody just signing autographs, especially after his round yesterday, where he quite frankly didn't play that well and sort of threw away the tournament and could have had a much higher finish. So I was TLDR, I was very impressed with what I saw from Blades Brown. And I think, I think he's got a very bright future, and, the hype is justified.
Yeah. Well, to put the nail in the coffin there or whatever of the Blades Brown conversation, I think Ryo Ishikawa said it well. And Ryo himself was obviously a phenom in his own right 9 years ago, almost a decade ago, when he was 17 and played on a President's Cup team. I think he's the youngest player, one of the youngest players to be in the top 50 in OWGR when he was 17 years old. But he said, full stop, the quote, I might be paraphrasing slightly, but it's pretty damn close, is that Blades Brown is the best player on Korn Ferry Tour. And he thinks that, and most of the guys on Korn Ferry Tour think that. So it's only a matter of time before I guess it's not only a matter of time before he gets a Korn Ferry Tour win, because we've only got a couple weeks left of his Korn Ferry Tour career. But it's a matter of time for his first professional win, no doubt. Major championship, I'm not at liberty to say. I've given out too many of those in my time already. There's only 4 a year, but he will no doubt be in the running. Why don't we put it that way? And I would not be surprised if he knocks down the door at some point.
Which, fun fact about Ryo Ishikawa, he's a big Apex guy.
What do you mean, big Apex guy?
He's a gamer.
Like the video game Apex?
Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not. I don't know.
We asked him after his round on Friday, just stuff that he does off the course, and he's like, yeah, I'm a big PC gamer. And he just which he did say, I asked him if that's just something we've seen Farrah O'Keefe playing Fortnite to de-stress, and I said is that something that de-stresses you? And he said honestly it's kind of more stressful because he's playing on American lobbies, and he English is his second language, and so he's trying to have conversations in English when his first language is Japanese, and it's almost more stressful for him. But
well, he's almost he's close to position to getting into the PGA Tour as well. He's 27th in the Korn Ferry Tour rankings, a couple good finishes away from a comfortable position. And he was T10 this week, so keep playing
yeah,
well.
he's got the stuff. He had a pretty good finish, and so yeah, I think just seeing like just what he said about Blades, I think this is another one where Blades really looked 19 in his answer. Like we asked him like, hey, did you see what Rio said? Like, what was your impressions playing with him? He's like, oh man, like we talked about everything. Like, I want to go to Japan now. We talked about sushi. We talked about Pikachu, Mario. Like, I want to go to Japan. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's 19 years old.
All right. Well, is there any other final points we should make on the Evans Scholar Invitational, Nick? Anything you saw out on the grounds that stood out to you outside of the golf, obviously?
I think just in terms of galleries, it was not obviously it was a Korn Ferry Tour event, but like the biggest galleries, like I'd say like Thursday through Saturday, you didn't really get any galleries with these players. Like the only people following were like probably their families. But and like Blades was probably the only one that like actually had a gallery across all 4 days. And then on Sunday there was just everybody was there. There's a lot of people like Blades did probably still have the biggest gallery on Sunday, but like the leaders had one that was like just as big. And so I think it was very accessible, you know, like they were, you know, at the PGA Tour, it's very strict. There's like, you know, the designated autograph zone, like all that kind of stuff. But they were signing off the 18th. I think I saw Rio like took a picture with a fan like off the 17th green as well. Like very intimate. Like you get to see these guys young, and like just from a media perspective too, like they were absolutely willing to talk. Like I had talked to, I'll give a shout out to Patrick Adler, who grew up like 10 minutes away from the Glen Club. He got a sponsor exemption to play. And I was trying to write a story on him. He ended up missing the cut by like 2 strokes. And so I said to the media director, I'm like, hey, like, can I talk to him? Like, if he's willing to talk, like, sure. If not, like, no worries. And then he came out with like the biggest smile on his face, like introduced me to his mom. Like, these guys, like they're young. I was joking with the media director. I said, you know, you get them young here before they learn to hate the media. And
yeah, I was like, going to say it's still novel at this point.
Right.
It's still novel for them.
Right. Like there were not many media members there. And like, I think Thomas Rosenmuller, I think he put his shot to like 9 feet on 18 to like grab a shot, grab like a share of the 36 hole lead with an eagle. And like, as he was walking off the course, I heard him say under his breath, like, man, I just shot a 62 and not a single shot was recorded. And it's like, yeah, like this is a tour that like doesn't get a lot of attention, but so like these guys really appreciate that as well. So I was very impressed. There was not a single guy that refused to talk to me. There was like everybody was very genuine. Everybody was very happy. And, you know, these are guys that are absolutely worth paying attention to and a lot of great storylines from the event. So I will say it was a bit of a grind as well. Like, I think, you know, instead of Ozempic, people should just go and cover professional golf tournaments. Like that would do the trick just fine. Especially on Sunday, it was like 95 degrees with like heavy humidity. That's, you know, I was trying to wear long pants the entire week. Like I brought out the shorts on Sunday. Like I had to. Like that was rough. But yeah, I had so much fun there that, you know, I guess just thank you to the Western Golf Association for putting together a really great event. And I you know, it's interesting. It's not going to be at the Glen Club next year, from what I've heard. I think the agreement ended, and I don't know where the next course is going to be. It's still going to be in Illinois, but yeah, we'll see where that one is next year. But it's a great market. Like you said, we're getting the President's Cup at Medina in a few short months, and you know, Chicago has been a site that's been touted for the PGA in 2028, and so you know this is a market that is very, very susceptible to golf, and I think that it's weeks like these especially prove that they're worth pursuing.
And one of the most historically important golf sites in the country too, just from the perspective of golf in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Got some of the first 18-hole golf course in America was out here. I believe the Chicago Golf Club holds that honor. There's a lot of really, really awesome, I mean, especially with the Western Golf Association, the Western, amateur being one of the older majors back in the early 1900s. Like there's a lot of really interesting golf history out here to be had. So people still love it. People still care about it. And it'll be really fun to have a regular stop on the PGA Tour out here if we can make that happen.
Yeah, they definitely should. I think that's definitely something that I think the tour would benefit from. There's definitely the market there.
Indeed. All right. Should we give some shouts out to the Women's Scottish Open for a moment?
Let's do it.
Before we wrap, we'll go to around the world, but we can give our focus, right to the Women's Scottish Open, which is not what is on my screen right now, but now it is. There it is. Jenny Shin wins for the first time, I believe, since April 28th, 2016. That's pretty nuts, if you ask me. Really long time. Again, this is all, we are a week away, I guess less than a week away now. We are, 3 days away from the AIG Women's Open? Is that right?
Yep.
Is my math correct? So, again, the final tournament of warm-up, and this was a brute of a tournament. I think Jenny Shin shot a 75 on Sunday to hold on to her lead. It was gusty, it was windy, 9 under par was the score that won it, and there was only 10 people under par at all. So I don't know if there's a ton to glean from here moving forward. Lauren Coughlin is another one. She's a winner this year that played well, T5. Alim Kim continues to play well, solo second. A lot of Miyu Yamashita continues her really good play. She's definitely a name that I would not at all be surprised to see near the top. At the AIG Women's Open, we had Nelly Korda T16 at +2, along with Hyoju Kim, two of the names that have kind of dominated women's golf in 2026. So we'll see. I mean, links golf is a different animal, especially when it's playing like it was playing out in Scotland at the Donald this past week. So
yeah, it looked difficult. Like, you see Charlie Hall put it off the green from 15 feet.
Made a 9 birdie putt, turns into a 9 on a par 5. It seemed like the type of golf that really tires you out. Where you walk out just like, man, my brain is fried.
That's we didn't really get a lot of that at Birkdale, but it sounds like this was the links golf that really just fucks with your head.
Yeah, exactly. I think are they at Lytham and St. Anne's this week? I think they're at Lytham and St. Anne's for the Open.
Mm-hmm. Which is one course. Thank you, Mr. Tom and Marty's.
One course, as old Tom and Marty's fellows managed to trick our good guy Nick here with some bad journalism, but yeah, Nelly continues T16, and then just doesn't. I mean, again, this is very, very different golf, so it's tough to analyze this in terms of her broader play and the missed cut at the most recent major, stuff like that. So we'll wait for next year before we draw any conclusions about where the rest of her season is going to go. But final of the 5 majors in the women's game coming up. Really, the pretty much the stamp on the end of pro golf season. Depends on how much you care about the FedEx Cup playoffs is coming up right about next week.
Yeah, no hair on you in the field this week, which I think was. I'm not gonna say a letdown, but we'll see what she does. I'm interested to see what she could do, because ball striking is going to be a very big, ball striking. I guess ball striking is just a very big component of all the majors, and considering what she's doing with her game right now, she's one of the hottest players in the world, and so I could definitely see her. I could definitely see her in contention once again. We can definitely talk about this more on the preview episode, but
yeah. A little disappointed to see Lottie Wood at T37. This is, links golf is how she turned professional last year. So a little bit of I don't know, not a surprise is a far cry. T37 making the cut at a major is no slouch, but these are the tournaments where you expect to see her name up near the top. But again, next week is the one that really matters. So like you said, Nick, we will wait and see on that. The only other thing in global golf that I really wanted to give a shout out to was the US AM, or Junior AM, excuse me. I wanted to make sure to give a shout to the US Junior AM, because Miles Russell did not win. He actually lost to Noah McLaughlin in the finals at actually lost 6-5. It's a 36 hole final, so it's like 6-5 isn't quite as bad, but nonetheless, he lost 6-5. And there was, but the one thing I did want to highlight, because you mentioned the 400-yard driving the green that Blaze Brown did. This was one of the crazy. Let me see if I can get this up properly. Or not Nick. This was one of the craziest drives considering the circumstances I've ever seen. I assume you guys have seen this. Maybe you haven't. This was on the 18th hole of the U.S. Junior Am, trying to get into the quarterfinals. Miles Russell is one up against Reed Arnaldo. Needs to have the hole to punch his ticket to the U.S. Junior Am. It's a 324-yard par 4. So naturally, pulls driver, 324, cuts it over the tree, rolls it out to about, 4 feet, makes the eagle putt, if that, and walks off with the I think it ended up being a concession on that hole because, again, he had a 2-foot eagle putt or something like that. But just the that's another one of the things where you're like, man, this kid's 17. What the hell is happening when he's got under the pressure of the U.S. Junior Amateur to step up and just put a driver to tap-in range is with your match to a certain degree on the line, especially when all you need is a half. Like, hey, man, I'm pulling 4-iron and trying to find the fairway at it. Like, just wailing on a driver to put it to 2 feet is otherworldly stuff, honestly. So shout out to him. I know.
I'll do one better. Ross Steelman had an ace on the par 4 15th this week or yesterday. And, I wasn't on that hole, but like I had heard whispers about it throughout the course. And I knew it was only a matter of time before like someone put it really close on 15. 15 was playing about like maybe 350, but it definitely had the potential to get it close. There were a few people that I saw that drove the green. I think Blades put it over the green on Sunday. And so like, I think even, Tommy Morrison, he had an eagle on Ryo Ishikawa eagled on Thursday. He holed out from like 60 yards from the rough for an eagle, and then he chipped in for eagle on the very next day. So I asked him, like, "You're having a lot of fun on the 15th hole, aren't you?" He's like, "Yeah, very, very much so." But 15 was like I said, there weren't a lot of par 5. Like the par 5s that were out there weren't very difficult. There were a lot of like short, accessible par 4s.
Yeah, I mean a 352-yard ace, not too shabby. 3 under on one hole, no matter how you slice it, is pretty good going.
That'll play.
So. Yeah. Anything else we need to touch on from around the world? I mean, there was a PGA Tour Americas tournament. I believe we had Etienne Papineau won at the Osprey Valley Open, just a little Canadian-French fella. He's wanting a playoff over Jack London. I have to imagine he's going to be in pretty good position to find his way to the Korn Ferry Tour. I think we said this at the beginning of the year. The points list thing is interesting just because, again, a win is so big. He's up to 5th now. But we had, Mason Green won the first event of the year and hasn't really played well since then. He's currently 12th. It's the top 10 that get into the PGA Tour into the Korn Ferry Tour, but to still be up there after basically having one really good event and a bunch of not so good events is pretty big. So obviously wins carry a ton of weight, and Etienne Papineau has himself in pretty good position to find his way to the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, that's definitely, there's a lot of, I think the future of golf is bright. There's a lot of really good, and I think being at this Korn Ferry event opened my eyes. There's a lot of really good players that can, the Tommy Morrison, like Christian Moss was in the field this week too. Jake Buchanan from Illinois, like some really great collegiate golfers have already made their mark on the Korn Ferry Tour as well, and they're starting on the PGA Tour Americas as well. They can absolutely make an impact there and find their way on the PGA Tour very soon.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, Christian Moss, like you said, T5. He's had a T5 There's been guys with T3, solo fourth. Obviously, Tommy Morrison is leading the pack, but there's a lot of top tens that have been distributed among the guys who recently graduated from PGA Tour U. So it's going to be a really fun couple years to follow golf. I think we got with Blades Brown, Miles Russell, this class next year, this rookie class that will include Blades Brown, that will include Jackson Koivun. Technically, I believe will still be a rookie next year. Will include Ben James. Technically, I think a lot of these guys I think are still rookies next year. This rookie class is going to be really, really interesting to follow over the next little while. They are already notching wins, so it'll be. And obviously, Tommy Morrison now will be a member of that class as well. He's put himself in position to be. So it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a really fun couple of years in the world of golf, and it's going to just become harder for guys like Scottie Scheffler and guys like Jackson Koivun to keep notching wins when the fields just keep getting stronger no matter where you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that finishes up around the world.
Man, that was a big one today.
There was a lot going on. Busy. I mean, no one massive tournament, but a lot of tournaments to talk about and a lot of important golf. So I had to give it. And we had to, you were out there grinding, Nick, for 4 straight days. We had to give you your airtime. We couldn't just brush through the Corn Ferry like we usually do.
Yeah, like you can't usually tell, or you can't tell because of the camera, but like I picked up a pretty wicked tan this week as well. Like I got some good sun.
That's good. We needed it. I mean, well, now it's sunny again, but for the last few hours, I don't think we've seen the sun for a little while out here in Chicago. But it's back right now. Blue skies on top of my apartment. This
is the epitome of Chicago. Is like it was pitch black when we went live, and now it is like perfectly sunny.
Yeah, I mean it's gorgeous out. I might go frolic for a little while.
That's a great word.
Thank you. It's an SAT 2 word right there, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's stuck in the brain from whatever the hell year that was.
Alrighty. Any other final thoughts? Yeah. Who says golf is dead after the last major? Not here on Center Cup. That's for damn sure.
We still go hour and a half about the 3M Open. Come on now. And the Evans Scholars Invitational. Just wait till you see what we can do about the Rocket Classic. It's going to get wild.
Oh, man. Yeah.
We might hit 2 hours after Jackson Koivun goes back to back.
I do have something about the 3M Open this past week and CBS. I feel like we're ragging on you. There's too many commercials. There's too many. I'm sorry. Yeah. They're showing commercials during play. You don't go 5 minutes without getting some iteration of a commercial. And the playing through, you might as well just go to break because you put the action in a tiny box and you've got the commercial. You can't tell really what's going on. It's
and they cut the volume too. I think that's the bad part. I think you see like the way there's a couple things. One, I think the Open really shined a light on just how screwed we are in America in terms of our broadcasting. Like you look at Sky Sports and it's like, Sky Sports has been running constant for 20 minutes and they're playing through is like little slivers of ads come up. And this was also what Red Zone does. I remember Red Zone is like, oh, well, we don't have ads until last year. They're like, oh, we have ads now because money is important. But at least their ads are, like the slivers, the screen goes from 100% of the screen to 80% of the screen and the volume stays on the screen. Playing through is just a commercial.
It's a commertal. Don't tell me it's not a commercial. They try to
because you leave
it in.
20% of the screen to be the leaderboard or the leaderboard and the whatever the hell they do, the little window that you can see and some names. It's like, man, no, I can't even hear what's going on. I can barely see what's going on. You have to have like a 70-inch TV to even be able to actually tell what's happening.
Dude, it was straight up pissing me off. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. It's literally they don't go 6 minutes without any kind of commercial. And this is all sports too. Yeah, I mean, you can't watch a baseball game without them, trying to wedge in a commercial in between pitches for Christ's sake. It's
hydration breaks.
It's out of control. It is out of control. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, this is just the era we live in, and everything's got to be capitalized. And you got to make money off of it. And if we're going commercial free, you're damn going to know it's because Rolex is paying for it. Like, it's just, it's nauseating. It's disgusting, And golf seems like it's the women's Scottish Open, you could barely find it. I mean, it was done by 7:30 a.m. Eastern. And that was both days, the broadcast. I know we've talked about the women's broadcast schedule and how messed up that's been. I don't know how many people were able to really catch a lot of that because it was barely on. I mean,
I will say, man, I'm so excited for match play FedEx Cup playoffs. Just you wait until there's one round of two players just playing on a golf course.
That's gonna
Imagine
be
the commercial load that they're going to work in there. I mean, shot to shot, it's just going to be. It's going to be. Brutal.
Oh God! See, that makes me. What is that? BMW? I mean, I'm
Genesis.
Genesis.
Yeah, it's bad that we all just know that song now. It's
be,
we're going to be in the nursing home at 85 years old. Just, I'd be like, it's okay, Grandpa. You can go to sleep.
And you know what the worst part of it is like, I don't know if this is something that like I've just observed in the last 3 years. It's the same 3 damn commercials.
Yeah.
Over and over.
It's ridiculous.
There's no variety anymore.
It's awful.
It's like it.
Go on, Will.
I was just gonna say it makes me mute commercials, man. Like I usually just like leave them on in the background, but I find myself like whatever I'm puttering about my apartment doing, I'm like I can't even have this on because I just
it's like you hear that come on and I'm like no, diving for the remote. Like I can't mute this. I mean, even I was talking to Nick and Will and I were talking before we went live, and I was asking them if they've watched the new Will Ferrell golf show. And, they do, it's very inside base. So if you're a golf fan, and you enjoy, stupid, funny Will Ferrell stuff, you might enjoy this because it's very inside golf. Like he's on the Korn Ferry Tour, they have the NBC broadcast is the one they do it. So, the whole show leads up to the US Open and they have, it's the NBC scorebug doing it. And even on the scorebug in the show, they have Rolex advertisements. I'm like, you gotta be shitting me right now. Like, oh my God, how greedy are you people? By the way, we will flash a big old Rolex up here if you want.
Yeah, seriously. Rolex, if you want to throw a playing through on our podcast, let us know.
Yeah, we'll mute our audio and like.
Yeah.
It's just, it was
water
just.
break. We need water breaks, guys. Every 45 minutes, I'll take a water break and we can throw a Rolex commercial in there if they want to sponsor us.
You know what? I will say, Kyle, you know how many commercials I saw this week at the Glen Club?
Zero.
None. It was great.
Yeah, that's why you go watch it live. You got to. No breaks there. Just potty breaks.
I'm not gonna dox him. I saw a player peeing behind a tree this week.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'd be peeing behind trees too.
And it was like it was a very skinny tree too, and like no surrounding trees. Like it could not have been more obvious.
Bold. Not as bad as Ray's Creek, but bold.
Yeah, true. Could get away with that at the Korn Ferry Tour. You probably can't get away with that on the real deal. But they probably have more porta potties out on the tour event. Korn Ferry, they might be lacking in the porta potty department. I remember at TPC Scottsdale, there was like a billion. You couldn't walk 10 feet without running into one.
And they're all hidden and like under whatever, tucked under the bleachers or something, but they're there.
Yeah, they're there. People are doing a lot more than peeing in them, but that's a story for another day. Alrighty, I'd say that's a good place to end.
Yeah, let's stop right there.
Last thing I'll say about Tommy Morrison, 4 starts combined to 80 under.
Jesus.
That's ridiculous. The Korn Ferry Tour tweeted that out 20 minutes ago, so I wanted to throw some respect that way. It's 80 under, average of 20 under a tournament. I know it's the Korn Ferry Tour and they're playing different venues, but the Glen Club is again broke the scoring record there by 3 shots. So pretty good. He's playing pretty good golf. I kind of wish we could just expedite this process and get him up here for the Rocket Classic, but I don't think that's how things work. So for now, we'll just have to wait till 2027.
When does the Korn Ferry like rankings like lock in? Is that before or after FedEx Cup Fall?
That's a good question. I think it should be. I actually don't know. I would assume. I mean, the Korn Ferry Tour season ends, so it must be before FedEx Cup Fall. But I don't know if the Korn Ferry Tour rankings apply to FedEx Cup Fall, because technically that's not the start of the 2027 season. FedEx Cup Fall is more like the last chance for players to get into the 2027 season.
Right.
So like he wouldn't have anything to be playing for technically, but you still see like guys like Xander Schauffele will play a random one here and there to stay sharp. So I mean, he probably could. I guess I don't know the exact answer to that question. You guys will have to come back and listen on Wednesday for the answer to that question.
Which I have confirmed, Blades Brown will be playing in all of the FedEx Cup fall events.
Nice. That rocks. That's what I was gonna say. If he's like, I think if he's playing in all the FedEx Cup fall events, I'll say that I'd be surprised if we get to 2027 without him having a PGA Tour win.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a PGA Tour win with an asterisk, but it'll be a PGA Tour win. Not as big an asterisk as Tommy Fleetwood's. So, actually, it's a good question. What's better, winning at a big field but a bad field, or a small field but a good field?
Actually, Kyle, before you answer that, maybe we should like get you some security and like get you a ride home tonight. Like
not at liberty to speak about Tommy Fleetwood.
for those who aren't aware, some English fans found Kyle's rant about Tommy Fleetwood at Royal Birkdale, and they left some very, very choice words for him.
I've been called worse.
It's the price of being famous, Kyle. It's basically paparazzi. You just gotta get used to it.
Exactly. That just means you're doing the right thing. So like I don't know if Kyle can step foot in Southport, England anymore, but like, you know, that just means you're doing the right stuff.
Really?
No, I was gonna say if I'm ever in Southport, England, something's gone terribly wrong. I've been kidnapped. So please come get
Probably by the Tommy fans.
All right. Well, we will be back Wednesday with a preview. Of course, like we said, we've got the last women's major of the year, so we're going to do a nice deep dive on that one. A Rocket Mortgage we'll talk about as well.
Not Mortgage.
There.
It's just the Rocket Classic. No longer
Rocket
the Rocket
Classic.
Mortgage Classic.
Okay.
The final Rocket
Can't get us dinged by the sponsors, Kyle. Come on now.
No, I'm all for getting dinged by the sponsors at this point. Okay, our Twitter and our TikTok are at Center Cup Pod. Our Instagram is at centercup.pod. And as always,
that's what our TikTok is too.
Us.
That's not.
That's
different from our.
As well.
It's okay, Kyle. It's episode 50.
You think I would have this? You think I thought we
had this one under the
Get it together.
This one happens when we're over the 1.5 hour mark. And as always, Will, still any emails? Nothing?
I'm trying to pull it up right now, and it's not being cooperative, but I don't believe so. I haven't gotten the noties on my phone. So
nobody emailed you calling me a bellend or whatever that was?
Actually, maybe I got some English fellers that are a little bit upset at you in the DMs. Let's find out. I think it's gonna get us in shortly. One day I'll get into this email again. They're no, nothing. No English bellends. Nobody calling me a bellend. It's dry in there.
Well, that's a good.
Pretty dry in there still.
Well, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening, everyone. We will see you on Wednesday.